So this is my first base I created. It was actually on my starting planet for my very first save. So you can see it's a little cold, but it really wasn't too bad. Very simple base, like no glitching involved. Everything kind of stacks together. The intention, or the selling point of this location was that I had this trade terminal, which I thought was super cool. It's less cool than I thought it was. But also over the ridge this way, there is a crashed freighter or something that let me give me an additional thing to do. So the base creation is super easy. There's 3 layers of floors, each of them just standard hallways, standard cylinders, and whatever rooms they're on top. And on either end of each of those hallways, there's a stairwell. It's a really messy looking stairwell here. I would have done it differently had I done it now. But and then there's a landing pad. This is a later edition, and then here are all my vaults and my like a greenhouse kind of thing. And lastly, underneath the trade terminal, I have added some geobay stuff. So all my exocrafts are here. This base is not used anymore, so it's kind of messy and all grown in. But there you see one of the hallways, just end to end. There's nothing really going on here. The stairwells was tough for me to build initially, so I made these short-range teleporters to get me all the way up to the top if I needed to. So yeah, each of these floors has a bunch of different stuff, and then the top floor has additionally a link to the hangar landing pad that I have, and then the last thing I can show you about this base, one of the selling feature for me was on the upper level of like the 3rd floor hallway, I had this short range teleporter which brought me to the trade terminal, so I had access to the other trade terminal menu if I needed to. What else can I show you? Oh yeah, on the very bottom is my I have a biodome up there. On the very bottom, I have access to my vaults and greenhouse. Again, very messy, not messy, but just sloppy and not pretty. All my vaults here, vault hallway. And then there's a little teleporter that brings me to upstairs, which is where my greenhouse is. Up here. This is my greenhouse. Vaults are now below me. And it's just for harvesting whatever plants. And then if I wanted to, I actually had to exit up here just for... I can't get out. Just for the sake of, in case I wanted a quick access. No. That was the first base. That's it. Base number 2. This was a planet that Francois found that was super nice. One of the ones that I think we all started building bases on a little bit because it was nice. When I was scouting around for location, I found this kind of pillar. You can see the amount of pillars in the distance. I found one of these pillars that had a hole in it, almost like a volcano, and I thought that was going to be a pretty cool location for a base, and so I decided to create one here. The base is pretty simple. From above, you can see it's just the hole filled in with 4 quadrants, almost like a star shape. This is really the majority of what my bases are. There's always a centralized location. So 3 landing pads, a centralized building or a centralized area over the whole of it, and then a little glass hut at the end, which is kind of my hub for transporting to other locations of space. So I'll do a quick walk through here. The base itself is pretty deep. The volcano, you can see it goes all the way down there. And these are empty at the moment. I might fill these with plants. It's probably the nice easy idea. I don't have a greenhouse on this base. This middle room has nothing. Again, I haven't decorated a lot of these bases, so a lot of it are just bare bones. And then the far side, which is where that kind of glass structure was, this is where all the transit points are to the rest of the base. So I have like a refiner and a nutrient processor here, trade terminal. Each of these things have labels of where they go to. So this one says the water level. That one is supposed to say to vaults, but I don't know what happened to it. I guess it's gone. But basically, this stairwell goes down and goes through the side of the volcano itself. So as it goes down, it has a number of different viewpoints. You can see here there's one, down there there's another one, and there's one inside the mountain as well. So it's kind of like just a stairwell down into the mountain with various lookout points along the way. So let's go check it out. Going down the stairs, first half level, going out towards the water. See, I have this fancy thing looking down, and then I have this glass thing. Going down another half level, I have the internal lookout point. So this again is now inside the volcano structure, looking into the chasm, looking down at the rest of the base, and looking up at the underside of the buildings that we just went to. Yeah, let's go down one another half level. This is the other external lookout point that you saw from the outside. This one is open air, so you can jump out of here if you need to. Just another lookout point here. And then going down one more half point brings you to the bottom surface layer of the volcano, and this is where I have a few things. Before I go that way, I'm going to show you the last little bit. If I go down one further, so now this is approaching underwater. There is access, as you will hear when I pass the threshold right here. I'm now in the underwater area. I managed to attach this somehow. I don't remember how I did that. But now I'm in underwater mode. And I have access into the lake adjacent to my base. Unfortunately, this lake kind of sucks. It doesn't go very far. Not a lot of access to anything underwater, but it adds a nice little attribute to the base. So heading back up to that other, I guess, the bottom floor of the base, which is right here. Come across this way into a circular room, which has nothing. And as you exit up top, this is now the bottom of the volcano. If you look up, you'll see buildings, you'll see that lookup point that we saw earlier inside. We have one of our vaults here. And then on the other side of this, we have kind of a takeoff pad here to the outside, along with all of my exocraft. And the exocraft just booted up this way, right into the open land or water or wherever you want to go. This is a base I was using to experiment with a lot of stuff. So this is a high orbit base. The planet down there is very, very cool, and you can't see it, but it has a lot of cool features. And my first mistake was to building this low orbit base way too high. If you fly up a little bit, you're in space. So I built this way too high. You can't see anything on the ground. That was my first mistake. But I did want to experiment a ton with this base. So there's a lot of stuff here that is not very functional, but a lot of stuff is just kind of operational. So first thing is I have this airlock door here. Super cool looking. Way not worth the effort. So if you come in here, you see it opens like that. Pretty sick. This whole area was a complicated result of trying to figure out how to incorporate a building into that airlock design. Again, not worth it. Looks very cool. Over here, this is one of those ideas that just look better on paper than it does, you know, in actuality. This is my vaults as a floor, but you can see here they're not flat, and it doesn't let you walk over it nicely, so it's a piece of shit. And then I have a biodome upside down. I thought it would be cool to see a place where you could like step on glass all around you, but it's less cool than I thought. But anyways, we're super high, so that's fun. Moving on from here, you can see here on the far end, I built a pyramid. That was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. It's another one of those things that is completely something I would never do it again. It took me a long time to build this, but the problem is that it's not clean, and it is clean, sorry, but it's not ideal for internal space. It's very small. So what I did is I crammed a whole bunch of shit in here. So you can see here my entrance into the pyramid, and then everything else here. It's going to look super complicated because I couldn't figure out how to make everything work in here. But I have a little entrance room here on the right, which leads up to a little overview walkway. I'll show you that. So this is my entrance room to the right. I don't remember where this goes. Nowhere. That's where it goes. Nowhere. Going up stairs. So we're on like the upper levels of the pyramid, and this is just like an overlook of the rest of the pyramid. Nothing ideal here in terms of space or function or whatever. So going back down to the entrance, here's the entrance. I have a stairwell down here that takes me to next level. And on the next level, I have a terminus. And that's it. And then, aside from this, further down, I think I planted a tree or something just to fill that gap. But it's yeah, there's nothing down there. It's a waste of space. This pyramid looks cool from the outside. It's less cool from the inside. I didn't know how to resize terminuses back then, so you can see this one is sticking out a little bit, which was kind of adds complication for walking. But this is my first low orbit floating base. It's again, mistakes were made, but it was a good learning experience. But I'm really high, so if you can see here, I could fall forever and ever and ever and ever. And ever. This is really high, guys. I'm not like it's super high. And ever. Still going. Took me a long time to build up to that low orbit base. Still going. And as much as you would like to see it, I'm not gonna die. Cool. That's it. So this base I built because I found this kind of chasm, and I was like, this is so cool that you have to like fly down into it to build a base. So I was like, I'm gonna build a base here, and it was the worst idea I had. So it was really cool, except for the fact that this is an extreme Sentinel planet, and they attack you. But aside from that, couple of the problems was that I'm in this chasm, as you guys can see here. Based on these walls, you can see how high like this chasm is. And there's no power source at the bottom of this shit. So I had to like basically find a power source and run wires all the way through. Actually, you can probably see it if I go to the build menu and edit. Somewhere here is a power line. So there's a power line that goes to there. And there's another power line. You can see it goes all the way fucking up. All the way up. Took me forever to run this with Sentinels. Up over to the power supply. And then, so that was a complication. And then from here, I have just my hangar on the, this is an experimental base. Nothing really special about this one. Learning process again. So all I have here is a hangar with a building, and it teleports me to that cool little structure over there. And that structure is there's no glitching here. Let me get up there so you guys can see from the outside. It's pretty cool looking. Is there no? Yeah, there's no glitching on this one. This is all just overlapping pieces, and it looks really cool. Took me a while to build. I'm gonna go into it just to show you guys. There's nothing in there, but it's kind of cool. So, just a wood structure. Yeah, this planet you can see sucks. A little room for some stuff, and then just a big open area. Nothing going on in this space, but learned a lot from how to build and where not to build and stuff like that. This is what I call my Sentinel base. And so, first of all, this base is built on a planet that I found, which is super cool. It's got this red kind of visual on it. It's got all these bubbles and all, and everywhere, and on the surface as well as floating. So, it is called a viridescent planet with clouds of haunted green. It's interesting. But I had a need to farm Sentinels. I don't remember what it was for, but every once in a while you need some kind of stuff from Sentinels. And the best place to do that is obviously at these Sentinel terminals that are being guarded by these guys. So, back to the planet. This planet has since as of the last patch, become a dissonance detected planet. So while this is red now, it turns into purple when you're flying. You see the purple in the distance? That used to always be red. So here's a Sentinel tower. I needed a way to kind of farm this. So like kill these guys and kill all the other guys. And what I've done is that I've built a base. Just a pyramid base. Nothing fancy in terms of form, but function is where it gets cool. So this is my pyramid base. Inside, nothing special. I just have one teleporter, a tray terminal, terminus, and another teleporter. They are motion activated. So if I'm get away from that, it turns off. And then get away from these, it turns off. What I do here is I come out here, I engage the Sentinels, drag them back to my pyramid, and I fight them. Either from this perch here, or I use the pyramid itself as cover to reload, or whatever I need to do. And if I ever get in trouble, well, I have two ways to escape. The first way to escape is to use a short-range teleporter, which brings me to my landing pad, which is way, way above my actual base. You can see it down there, and there's the tower. Up here, the Sentinel walkers, or even the drones, they don't fly up here. They don't get you. This is too high. So this is like a safe escape. If I don't want to reset my progress and I just need to kind of remake ammo or restore shields or whatever I want to do, I can come up here. Makes it nice and easy. The other safety measure I have is this other teleporter, which takes me right down to the Sentinel tower, the terminal, and I can going to activate it. When you activate it, it shuts down all Sentinel forces for a while. Problem with that is that if I want to continue to kill them, well then I have to wait a certain amount of time. So yeah, so this is a nice little way I've identified to like kind of keep safe while farming these guys. This base is a glass farm. So because of all the base building I made, one of the things I've realized that happens when you make a lot of bases is that you run out of some materials more than others. I do not play in creative, even though I should. So I run out of glass a lot. And so I've identified that the cheapest way and the easiest way to source glass is through growing frost. So I've made this base, again, very simple, nothing special about this. It's just a farm. It's got a hangar, it's got a terminus, it's got 3 buildings in power, and in those buildings I grow frostwort. I love this base. It's one of my favorite ones. It's on the same planet with the bubbles and the red grass and all that, but it just looks so clean. I find this is like very easy. But all I do for getting glass is I go here, climb this thing, harvest all my frostwort. So I got what? How much frost crystal did I get? 800. 800 frost crystal from that. I'm gonna get 800 from this one. And then 800 from the last one. And then I go take it to a refiner and I refine it and I get glass. That is the glass farm. That is it. That is it. Very simple, easy to make, easy to manage. I just planted frost ward or whatever, and it's super cool looking, kind of on this little edge, a little bit of an elevated base, kind of a cool cave system underneath. But this planet is worked out great for me. Just very nice aesthetically, but also the weather is nice and Sentinel traffic. So this base is my Nanite farm. I've discovered this place where there is these creatures that have like they drop runaway mold when you kill them, and when you extract or refine the runaway mold, it gives you straight nanites. So I just created a building here, and this is nothing special. The only thing special about this is that in here is where those creatures spawn, and they always spawn, and they're like these little balls. So when you shoot them, they roll down the hill. So here's an example of one. When I shoot it, it would automatically roll down the hill forever, but here I just have it like a collection point, so I can just shoot all of these guys. I just sit here and just fire my laser and collect all this runaway mold. What I do after this is I take all this stuff, this mold, and I take it to one of the extractors. You can see this base has a shit ton of extractors, and all I do is I take this here and I refine the runaway mold into nanites. 50 nanites for 250 mold. When I'm done, as I am over here, pick it up, add this nanites, drop it into my inventory, gives me 50 nanites. Super easy, pretty quick. Whenever I run out of, whenever these guys are done or they're gone, then I just jump into my ship, reload the save, and then they respawn. So I can just kind of constantly harvest the nanites here. If you can see here, I also learned this base. I learned how to resize my terminus. So this is, I think it looks really cool when I just put it on like a pedestal here. It's very small, but it operates the same way. Just power it like normal, and then you can jump wherever you need to go. Okay, so this is what I call my suspension base. Um, this base is one of my kind of bases I put together after learning a lot of the base building techniques that I spent a lot of time doing. Some glitch building, a lot of glitch building here. Um, a lot of inspiration online from people's videos and stuff like that. So this is once again on a planet that Francois discovered with all of the pillars. And what I ended up looking for and finding, were two pillars in close proximity at around the same height, so that I was able to build a bridge pretty much between them. So here's the first pillar, here's the second pillar, about the same height, and I was able to build the base as like a suspension bridge between the two. So you can see I have the two hangars kind of in the middle, centralized by this circular red building here. This base is probably the one that I've decorated the most and kind of finalized. So aside from the hangars and the terminus, I have a centralized building here. There's all the terminals are in here and like glass floors, so you can see all the way to the bottom. Pretty cool visually. And the roof, it looks pretty nice. This is actually not even glitch built. This is just overlapping pieces. And I used that a couple times during this base. These paths, well, not these paths, but more so the elevated paths up here, took me a long time to build, and you kind of see at places like this, they're not perfect, but they're okay. They're nice enough. There are 3 buildings on this side of the suspension. There's this building here, which is just a small utility building. I have in here all my refiners, nutrient processor, trade terminal, all that kind of stuff, and nothing else. But it's a nice building. Going out to the other side, I have in the far end, this is my lighthouse. So I have nothing inside right now. This is just like I think I have like bubbles in here. Yeah, bubbles and some random other like fisher thing inside. These ramps took me forever. This is the hardest thing I think I've done in this game. These ramps took me so long. There are no ramps in this game. There are stairs and there are flat kind of floor pieces. So I had to figure out how to do that. And then upstairs in the base, I have these fire in all of these windows. Adds a nice kind of visual to the lighthouse, especially from far away. Upstairs, I have just a little platform here. There's no easy way to get here. And then again, just another light fissure to give a little beacon in the nighttime. The last building in this side of the island is kind of a shell of a building. There's nothing inside until you get to the top, where it's like a glass circular building in a biodome. I do want to put plants up here. I just haven't done it yet. On the other side of the island, you have 3 parts again. You have this tree. This is one of those quicksilver or whatever that currency is in the Nexus at the end of the game. I used some currency to buy it, scale it up, and use it as like a focal point here. I have this building on the left, which I have created into like a bar or restaurant kind of thing, and then up in this middle building is my living quarters. So I guess I'll show you this restaurant area first. Made all these like bar things, like all the. This is me being a big nerd with all the place settings and stuff like that, and the bar section with all the taps. Thought this was kind of cool. There's a nice little fireplace here. This fireplace again is the same fire that we have in the windows of the lighthouse. Yeah. So, anyways, it's a nice little building here. The last building is this living quarters I have built, accessible only by the short-range teleporter. And when you go up, you are immediately entered into a little dining kitchen area. So I built this again like a little bar section. Trying to make it as bright as possible. Some TV screens and stuff like that. Just past there is this little working desk area with a view, and then I've decorated this room as like a bedroom. So there's like cabinetry and a bed, TV screen, windows and curtains and stuff like that. Going back through the kitchen, I have this like living space with yet another fireplace, a couple couches, view of the rest of the island, a little card table here, looking over the rest of the island. Space is visually, it's really nice. I did a lot of different things here. I didn't want to do like cookie cutter things, so I tried to make it every one of these buildings a little bit different. Moving on, we have this little room here, which I built into like a little server room. This one needs maintenance. Yeah, just a little electronic server room. And then lastly, I have a little like reception area here with a couple of couches, waiting area couches, and like a meeting room here. That yeah. So that is the space. This is my most decorated base. I like all this kind of stuff, the desks and the couches and the TVs, all that kind of stuff. I put some time into to make it relatively look like it's lived in. All the rest of my bases are pretty much empty. But yeah, this is my suspension bridge base, the one that I've probably put the most amount of time in terms of decoration. This base was built as a portal base. I needed a portal presence to be able to jump to other coordinates or whatever, and I've seen some portal bases online. This one is pretty much inspired by a template that I found online. Not a lot of this stuff is original, but basically it has two hangars on the upper side of things, with a building in the middle, and then steps down to the portal, and then another building on this side, and I will show you some of the other stuff. So maybe I'll start on the far building over there. This is like my greenhouse building. I have in here all the flowers, my prospector dude. I have all this carbon here. So this is a nice, quick, easy repository for a lot of this stuff. Exiting out here, up the stairs to the left is my first landing pad. And then I have a central building, other landing pad, another circular building, and it steps down to the portal. So as I approach, you see how nice and lined up it is with my base. So going back up to the centralized building here, this base was interesting because I had no power source nearby. So if you can see here, there's actually a building under here. Inside is all solar panels and batteries, just full of them. So this is all powered by solar. This is the only base I have, I think, that is powered by solar. In here, you can see I've done a lot of work with scaling. This is one of the bases I used scaling with. These are the vaults, and obviously this is not the normal size of them, so this is the first time I've started to use some scaling glitches to redo some of this stuff. And this is very neatly aligned. Later on I tried to do the similar things with the vaults. It didn't work out as well. But I also scaled the terminus, and as you know, again, motion activated, which is kind of nice, especially when you're using solar power. And you also doesn't make noise as much, which is nice. Moving on to the next building. This one is where all my terminals are. So the dude's just sitting in here. I haven't figured out exactly what I want to do in this building yet, but I'll probably decorate it a little bit more. I have that trade terminal as well, and behind it is another building. I do want to attach these in the future, maybe make a door on the outside of that, figure out how to attach this. This is another building I created. This is just an exocraft kind of hangar. Pretty large building. Here's my exocraft dude. Large building here with all of my exocrafts, and a couple of the cool things about this is that it's kind of a cool location where I have an egress point here where this just takes me out to the world, as you can see. And also have an egress downstairs, which takes me into like this little cave system. So that Nomad exocraft that just spawned can be able to fly down in here and explore this cave system. It gets me into like a water system as well. So that's a space. It's not a portal base. So this is my newest base. Played a lot with resizing, a little bit with glitch building and stuff like that. This base had a lot of lessons learned from my previous like floating air base, low orbit base, I guess you call it. That one I built way too high up. It was like pretty much in space. The problem with that is that all the cool stuff on the ground you couldn't see. And this one you can see all the cool stuff on the ground. So this is one of those weird like redacted planets or whatever. This is a hexagonal planet. So it's got a really cool kind of visual to it. And so I wanted to build a base that kind of was able to kind of show off some of the stuff from above. So this base I built inspired by something I saw online. I was able to use that size glitching thing to do a couple things. Most notably, the biodome on the top is significantly bigger than the ones on the bottom. Those are usually not scalable, so I had to figure out how to do that. And also the large generator here, which is also usually not scalable. This large generator actually doesn't provide any power. The small ones do, but the big one doesn't. So this one, it's a symmetrical base, lots of glass, so you can see all the way through to the bottom. But each of these 4 wings is identical. There's a hangar. Exiting the hangar, you have these 2 wings. Each of them have like a biodome. I don't have anything filled up yet. I've just built this base, but I'll probably fill it with maybe not even plants, maybe just some decorations. You can see all my messy wiring for now. There is a shrunken base terminus here, and then there is a portal, a short-range teleporter. This brings me to the large biodome up top. So what I've done here is I've built a floor halfway up the biodome. You can kind of see here, and that lets me have a kind of a larger viewpoint to see out the windows. I think it gives a nicer aesthetic to everything. And yeah, I haven't built anything in here, so it's a huge space to work in. But that's all. That's all this base is. It's just a floating base. Doesn't offer anything different. Doesn't offer anything new. It was just kind of a new challenge for me to do. Lots of glass, tons and tons of glass, which I use my glass farm to help me produce all that stuff. So this is what I call my my paradise space. So this base is built on the same red flower bubbles planet as a lot of my other bases. This base is probably my toughest one, my most intricate base. Everything from, what I did with the power, which I wanted to make kind of a visual thing as opposed to just something that's passively there in the base, kind of being an eyesore. It's more. This is like a landmark, right? So it took me a while to do this, to build a power supply that was as nice as this, close to the power supply. I wanted to do this video at night just so you can see the difference of the terrain at nighttime. It looks super cool with all these different lights that show up, compared to what it looks like during the day. But so I have a little teleporter here to get me over to my base, which is over that way. So this base is made out of 5 pillars. Each pillar, it's clipping at the end of it, but some of the pillars are made differently. So let me get closer and I'll show you. So some of these pillars are made differently than others. You can see this one is like a twisty pattern, and this one in the middle is more like a lattice pattern. standard Dave kind of template where I have my centralized building and everything else is branching off of that. One of the towers is my hangar, which is where I am now. I adjusted these hangars so that I can put like glass floors on the end of them, and this stone floor as well. I feel like it makes it look nicer. In the middle, I have this kind of customized building, which took me absolutely fucking forever to work out. There's an airlock door here, and then inside I actually have this part decorated where it is like some nice couches. I have a little, I love this, like little terminal screens and stuff like that. I have this short-range teleporter, which gets me to the ground level in case I fall off and need to get back up easily. On another one of the towers, I guess you call it, I have my terminus. Not resized. This was before I knew how to do that. And the last tower, which is over here, I don't have anything yet. This one I need to decorate with plants or living quarters or something. So that's the four main towers here. I have one more here, and the cool thing about this terrain is that it is on the coast, and a lot of my bases I like to integrate some kind of water, like underground water system. And this one is very interesting because there's actually some like cave system in this water which comes under the ground. And so what I've done is I've added a short-range teleporter from this last tower that takes me down to the cave system. I'll show you exactly where that is in a little bit, but this takes me under the water into like an attached part of the base. So when I jump down, I mean obviously under the water now, but I am not extremely far from where my base was. I threw a second terminus down here. I can't teleport to here, but I can teleport from here. And all of this base is now under the water. You can see I'm in like a cave kind of structure in the ocean. This is interesting. I can actually access this living pearl through the walls. But when I continue through my underwater portion of here, I've made like a little shrunken base access. This was sloppily done just so I can have some of the ingredients to continue to make my base. But this is my first actual underwater base. I do have an underwater presence on one of my earlier bases I showed you, but it's super shallow. There's really not much you can do. This is much better. Very deep. I can go all the way across the ocean here. In fact, I have a little tunnel that I climb down here. This gets me down to my ground level, where I have access into the actual underground portion, either through a moon pool or a door here. So if I switch to photo mode, you can see my underground. There's my Nautilus down there. You can see my underground base here, access point there, vaults up here, and way back in there is where the actual base itself is sitting. So it's kind of cool, like little cave. And if I go above ground, there you can see where my base is. Again, it's clipping because it's a little far and there's a lot of stuff to load up. But that's how far my base is away. So it's not far. It's nice little. It gives me a nice little way to expand my base, despite not wanting me to ruin the cool aesthetic of the 5 towers. I feel if I added a lot more buildings in there, it would be a lot messier. But the simplicity of the stuff over there is kind of nice. The hardest thing about this base, I think, obviously was building those towers that and spacing them out properly. So the towers are one thing, but spacing them out properly to be able to throw a biodome perfectly fitting on top of them, or a hangar fitting on top of it, was the most difficult part. Yeah. So those are my bases.